Okay, tell me when you're ready.
Anytime, George.
Oh, shit. The door was wide open. A group of people were cowering, whimpering to the right of the door. I knelt to the left, close by the window. I called out several times to Ava. No reply. Big explosions. Again, the windows on the back wall opened. Again, it was bright as day. Again, water was pumped. Then, an explosion at the window close to me. Something glowing hot and hard struck the right side of my face. I put my hand up. It was covered in blood. I felt for my eye. It was still there. A group of Russian prisoners of war. Where had they come from? Pushed out the door. I jumped over to them. I had the rucksack on my back. In my hand, I held the gray bag with our manuscripts and Ava's jewelry. My old hat had fallen off. I stumbled and fell. A Russian lifted me up. To the side, there was vaulting, God knows what, half-destroyed cellar. We crowded in together. It was hot. The Russians ran on in some other direction. I with them. Now we stood in an open passageway, heads down, crowded together. In front of me lay a large, unrecognizable open space. In the middle of it, an enormous crater. Bangs as light as day. Explosions! I had no thoughts. I was not even afraid. I think I was simply terribly exhausted inside. I think I was expecting the end. After a moment, I scrambled over a parapet or a wall or some steps into the open air and threw myself into the crater. Lay flat on the ground for a while, then clambered up the side of the crater, over the edge, into a telephone kiosk. Someone called out, "This way, Herr Klemperer!" In the demolished little lavatory building stood Eisenman Sr., little Shorshi in his arms. I don't know where my wife is. I don't know where my wife and the other children are. It's getting too hot. The wood paneling is burning. Over there, the hall of the Reich Bank building. We ran into a hall. It was surrounded by flames, but looked solid. There seemed to be no more bombs exploding here, but all around, everything was ablaze. I could not make out any details. I saw only flames everywhere. Heard the noise of the fire and the storm. Was terribly exhausted inside. After a while, Eisenman said, "We must get down to the Elbe. We'll get through." He ran down the slope with a child on his shoulders. After 5 steps, I was out of breath. I could not follow. A group of people were clambering up through the public gardens to the Bruhl terrace. The route went close by the fires, but it had to be cooler and easier to breathe at the top. Then I was standing at the top in the storm wind and the showers of sparks to right and left. Buildings were ablaze, the Belvedere and probably also the Art Academy. Whenever the showers of sparks became too much on me on one side, I dodged to the other. Within a wider radius, nothing but fires. Standing out like a torch on this side of the Elbe, the tall building at Pirschenplatz, glowing white as bright as day. On the other side, the roof of the finance ministry. Slowly, thoughts came to me. Was Ava lost? Had she been able to save herself? Had I thought too little about her? I had wrapped the blanket, one, I'd probably lost the other with hat, over my head and shoulders that also covered the star. In my hand I held the gray bag, the precious gray bag, and also the small leather case with Ava's woolen things. How I managed to hold on to it with all the clamoring about is a mystery to me. The storm kept pulling at my blanket and hurting my head. It had begun to rain. The ground was soft and wet, so I did not want to put anything down, so there was serious physical strain, but in between there was constantly present Eva. What had happened to Eva? Why had I not thought more about her? Sometimes I thought, she's more capable and courageous than I am. She will have got to safety. Sometimes, if only she didn't suffer. And sometimes, if only the night were over. Once, a man addressed me. You're also a Jew, aren't you? I've been living in your house since yesterday. Löwenstam. Once, a young man came up to me holding up his trousers with one hand in broken German, Dutch. Ran for it, held in the police prison. The others are burning in the prison. It rained. A storm blew. Groups of people stood or sat. There was fire everywhere. I was quite dulled. I had no thoughts at all. No more than occasional scraps rose up in my mind. Eva, why am I not worried about Eva? Why can I not observe any details but see only the theatrical fires to my right and left, the burning beams and scraps and rafters in above the stone walls, and then the calm figure of the statue on the terrace made a strange impression on me again. Who was he? But most of the time, I stood as if half asleep and waited for dawn. I had no sense of time. It took forever and didn't take so long at all, and then dawn began to break. The burning went on and on. Finally, it must have been about 7 o'clock. The terrace forbidden to Jews was by now somewhat empty. I walked past the still burning shell of the Belvedere and came to the terrace wall. A number of people were sitting there. After a minute, someone called out to me. Eva was sitting unharmed on the suitcase, wearing her fur coat. We greeted one another very warmly. And we were completely indifferent to the loss of our belongings, and remain so even now. At the critical moment, someone had literally pulled Eva out of the entrance hall of number 3 and into the Aryan cellar. Once, as she was searching, she'd wanted to light a cigarette, had had no matches. Something was glowing on the ground. She wanted to use it. It was a burning corpse. All in all, Eva had kept her head much better than I, had observed much more calmly, and had gone her own way. So now it was the morning of the 14th of February, and our lives were saved, and we were together. We were still standing together after our first greeting when Eisman appeared with Shorshi. He had not been able to locate the other members of his family. He was so low that he began to cry. In a moment, the child is going to ask for something to eat. What shall I give him? Then he pulled himself together. We would have to find our people, and I would have to remove my star, just as he had already taken off his. Eva thereupon tore the star from my coat and my jacket with a pocket knife. Then Eisenman suggested going to the Jewish cemetery. It would be undamaged and be a meeting point. He strode ahead. We soon lost sight of him and have not seen him since. In the cellar of the Albertinium, Eva stretched out on a low platform and slept soundly. I walked around and slept again and walked around again. I was completely without thoughts or sense of time. Very late at night or early in the morning, Steinitz rushed up to me. "We're all being taken out of here, to Meissen, to Klotsche." I woke Eva. We sat for a long time. Then dawn broke. Then another lorry was ready, and a few wounded on stretchers were put on board, and then we, the healthy ones, were pushed in between and to the back. A bumpy ride past ruins and fires. We arrived at the airbase fairly early on Thursday morning. Sunday morning, March 18th, just after 7 downstairs, a brief morning reflection arisen from great love. In fact, the main point, after all, is that for 40 years we have so much loved one another and do love one another. In fact, I'm not at all sure that all of this is going to come to an end. Nothingness, the loss of individual consciousness, and that is the true nothingness, is altogether probable, and anything else highly improbable. But have we not continually experienced since 1914, and even more since 1933, and with ever great frequency in recent weeks, the most utterly improbable, the most monstrously fantastic things? Has not what was completely unimaginable to us become commonplace and a matter of course? If I have lived through the persecutions in Dresden, if I have lived through the 13th of February and these weeks as a refugee, why should I not just as well live, or rather die, to find the two of us somewhere, Eva and I, with angel wings, or in some other droll form? It is not only the word impossible that has gone out of circulation. Unimaginable also has no validity anymore. June 10th, we arrived back in Dresden. We found the Gläser's house with nothing but ruins all around. Frau Gläser greeted us with tears and kisses. She had thought us dead. Gläser himself was somewhat listless and decrepit. We were fed. We were able to rest. In the late afternoon, we walked up to our house in Dörschen. 15th of May, I met Elsa Kreidel while shopping. She reported the latest decree. She then showed it to us in the Jewish community newspaper. Jews who wear the star and anyone living with them are, with immediate effect, forbidden to keep pets. It is also forbidden to give the animals away to be looked after. This is the death sentence for Michel, whom we have had for more than 11 years and to whom Eva is very attached. He is to be taken to the vet tomorrow so that he is spared the fright of being fetched and put down together with others. I feel very bitter for Eva's sake. We have so often said to each other, the tomcat's raised tail is our flag. We shall not strike it. We'll keep our head above water. We'll pull the animal through, and at the victory celebrations, Michel will get a schnitzel from Kam's, the fanciest butcher here. Makes me almost superstitious that the flag is being lowered now. Recently, the animal had been particularly lively and youthful. Michel is pampered. For his last meal, he got veal, as in peacetime. Am I hard-hearted if I secretly note 1 pound? When £1.25 pounds is the weekly ration for 2 people? Am I hard-hearted if I wish the moratorious days were over? Today, Eva said, the animal plays, is happy, and does not know it will die tomorrow. Is there anyone among us who knows tomorrow you will die? "20th of May, I left the decision to Eva. She took the cat away in the familiar cardboard cat box. She was present when the animal was put to sleep with an anesthetic which took effect very rapidly. The animal did not suffer, but she suffers. And I, too, am haunted by the poor beast. I read aloud a great deal to Eva to help her at night, in the morning, at any time. Yesterday, reading interrupted by shouting or weeping upstairs or downstairs. First assumption, Elsa Kreidel will have received the news of the death of her husband in the concentration camp. Such a fate also hangs over me all the time. Everyone thinks of himself. Today, Eva said, the animal died 3 days too early. Today, he could officially belong to the widow, Elsa Kreidel. What?
The Aryan widow.
Oh. Okay. C'est ça. What? Do you want me to say that line? Huh? Hello? Tell me when.
When?
15th of May, I met Ida Kreidel while shopping. She reported the latest decree. She then showed it to us in the Jewish community newspaper. Jews who wear the star and anyone living with them are, with immediate effect, forbidden to keep pets. It is also forbidden to give the animals away to be looked after. This is the death sentence for Michel, whom we have had for more than 11 years and to whom Eva is very attached. He is to be taken to the vet tomorrow so that he is spared the fright of being fetched and put down together with others. I feel very bitter for Eva's sake. We have so often said to each other, the tomcat's raised tail is our flag. We shall not strike it. We'll keep our heads above water. We'll pull the animal through. And at the victory celebrations, Michel will get a schnitzel from Kahm's, the fanciest butcher here. Makes me almost superstitious that the flag is being lowered now. Recently, the animal had been so lively and youthful. Michel is pampered. He got veal for his last meal, like in peacetime. Am I hard-hearted if I secretly note 1 pound, when £1.25 is the weekly ration for 2 people? Am I hard-hearted if I wish the moratorious days were over? Today, Eva said, the animal is happy, plays, and does not know it will die tomorrow. Is there anyone among us who knows tomorrow you will die? "20th of May, I left the decision to Eva. She took the animal away in the familiar cardboard cat box and was present when he was put to sleep with an anesthetic which took effect very rapidly. The animal did not suffer, but she suffers. And I too am haunted by the poor beast. I read aloud a great deal to help Eva, at night, in the morning, at any time. Yesterday, reading interrupted by screaming and shouting above or below us. First assumption, Ilse Kreidel will have received the news of her death, the death of her husband in the concentration camp. Such a fate hangs over me all the time also. Everyone thinks only of himself. Today, Eva said, Michel died 3 days too early. Today he could officially belong to the Aryan widow, Ilse Kreidel. May. Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
Yep.
15th of May. Frau Ilse Kreidel, whom I met while shopping, reported the latest decree. She then showed it to us in the Jewish community newspaper. Jews who wear the star and anyone living with them are, with immediate effect, forbidden to keep pets. It is also forbidden to give the animals away to be looked after.
Anybody home?
Oh, hold on. I'm not ready. Okay.
official is pampered. For his last meal, he got veal as in peacetime. Am I hard-hearted if I secretly note 1 pound? When £1.25 is the weekly ration for 2 people? Am I hard-hearted if I wish the moratorious days were over? Today, Eva said, the animal is happy, plays, and does not know it will die tomorrow. Is there anyone among us who knows tomorrow you will die?